There's some big news to go over today as the Los Angeles Lakers had just made a surprising move as Jordan Goodwin has officially been let go. And what's come in a flurry of moves over the past few days, a big domino has fallen surrounding the guard. We're going to break down exactly what this means, discuss most importantly, the implications this has going forward, as well as a few other updates on this episode, folks. Before we get into it all, if you're a part of the percentage, you aren't subscribed to the channel, quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. You guys have been an absolute beast with the support. So thank you guys for that. Hunter, this came in not necessarily a surprise in the sense that we didn't see this coming, but a surprise compared to where the sentiment was just a few weeks ago with this team, with Jordan Goodwin. And now, just a couple weeks later, he is no longer going to be on the team. And it just dropped literally a minute ago. So let's dive right into it here. From Shams directly, the Los Angeles Lakers have waived guard Jordan Goodwin. Sources tell ESPN. Goodwin emerged as a key rotation piece for JJ Redick last year. Played 29 games. Of course, got converted to the NBA. All these different things happen. JJ was a big fan of Jordan Goodwin. And now fans are pretty upset with this move. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are and everybody in the comment section. But clearly, and we'll dive into how this kind of came from, Goodwin's gone, Shake Milton's gone, and this is, of course, all in the effort to make room for Marcus Smart.
Yeah, and you say a few weeks ago we didn't see his coming. Did we see it coming a few days ago? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
this was, Marcus Smart gets bought out by the Wizards, becomes available. There's multiple teams looking at him. The Suns and Bucks were two teams that were also in the running for Marcus Smart. He decides he wants to come here to Los Angeles to play next season. And as a result, the Lakers cannot access the biannual exception unless they shedded some salary. So today was the deadline to make a decision on Shake Milton. To no surprise, the Lakers decided to waive him, but that was not enough. They still needed a couple of million more dollars, and the easiest way to do it was to cut Jordan Goodwin, and that is what the Lakers ultimately decided to do. Obviously, Goodwin was a really good feel-good story for the Lakers last year. He was converted from a two-way contract to a full-time salary with the Lakers. They decided to opt into his team option and to keep him around for next season. However, of course, plans change. Marcus Smart comes in here. Might have also limited Jordan Goodwin's minutes as well, as he's going to be taking on, more of that, the responsibilities being that defensive-minded guard that, comes off the bench most likely and, is going to be that point of attack defender for the Los Angeles Lakers. So, obviously, it sucks because Jordan Goodwin, I like rewarding guys who have done a great job, and Jordan Goodwin 100% earned his keep here with the Lakers this past season. But unfortunately, when you're making these types of transactions, Lakers are acquiring more guys than they're letting go, which is a good problem to have. As a result, someone's going to be at the short end of the totem pole. And in this situation, it was Jordan Goodwin.
Yeah, and obviously, feel good story last year. Was a very good defender, had some really good games. Look at his stats. The Lakers finished with 5 points a game, 4 rebounds, and was always kind of that guy who gave effort defensively, gave effort on the glass. But you mentioned a very good point. And again, this needs to be updated because, Bobby Mark, shout out to him. He does these. This will get updated probably tomorrow with Smart and Goodwin.
But so.
It goes to show how fast things have changed in the last 24 hours. And that's why I wanted to use this one as compared to the ESPN one, because we look how the team looked literally 2 days ago. This is how it looked right here. You had Jordan Goodwin as the reserve, and you didn't have Marcus Smart. Now you add Marcus Smart in here. 2 of the reserves, your bench pieces, are gone now. Jordan Goodwin, Shake Milton. And quite frankly, the bench isn't looking that deep right now. You have Gabe Vincent, you have Jake LaRavia, Maxi Kleber, I guess, and of course Jackson Hayes, your backup center. Other than that, is there a world where, Marcus Smart's going to come off the bench? Probably. A lot of fans are pushing to put Marcus Smart in the starting lineup, but for surrounding Jordan Goodwin, he was factoring into, and I assume in JJ Redick's mind prior to the Smart signing, he was going to be the, 7th, 8th man off the bench. It's not that deep of a team right now. Maybe you put Gabe Vincent ahead of him and it pushes him down to the 9 spot. But this was 8 hours ago from some Lakers fans. If they waived Jordan Goodwin, we riot. Something had to be done, right? And one more move needed to happen in order to open up the full biannual exception. And what this means now, and again, I've used this now 3 times in the video earlier today as well, they basically had to choose from either making a trade to open up that money or waiving Jordan Goodwin. And of course, you can see there in the second last paragraph, the worst case was that they waived Jordan Goodwin. And I'm surprised they didn't wait a little bit longer because there was technically no rush for this unless behind the scenes Marcus Smart was pushing for it sooner than later. But now once he clears waivers on Tuesday, they can sign Marcus Smart. A little bit surprised they didn't wait longer to try to see if they could get a deal done. Does this mean they're not going to make a trade? I still don't think so. I think for now, though, it means they're most likely going to be holding off on a trade for the biannual exception. However, I'm still of the mind I want to see them use those assets. Dalton Knecht, the first-round pick, to trade for a point-of-attack defending wing. A guy like Andrew Wiggins obviously makes sense. There's been some rumblings about P.J. Washington, things like that, but they went with the route of waiving, of course, Jordan Goodwin, which was, I guess, worst-case scenario in theory, depending on how you view it.
Yeah, well, waiving Jordan Goodwin was the easiest
Correct.
option to open up the biannual exception, and which that's what the Lakers did, right? Cutting Milton and Goodwin, you don't have to trade with another team who's going to have to. Obviously, you have to agree to their terms. They know the Lakers would have been desperate in that situation because they would have had to have opened up some room for Marcus Smart. But perhaps the Lakers do have something up their sleeve. I
Yep.
mean, obviously, it sucks to lose Jordan Goodwin, but they still have three expiring contracts. If you want to count Rui Hachimura on top of Maxi Kleba and Gabe Vince, that's nearly $40 million in expirings. They still have a 2031 first round pick. They now have access to a 2032 second round pick that they can trade. And of course, you look at a guy like Dalton Knecht, who's also been some of these trade rumors as well. So perhaps the Lakers do have more moves coming. That definitely can be possible. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be a month or two, trade deadline, who knows? But the Lakers still have given themselves the flexibility to go out there and make some moves. And while losing Jordan Goodwin sucks, we saw he really wasn't much of a factor in the playoffs. Like, they still were a really thin team. Marcus Smart is a better player than Jordan Goodwin is. And I'd rather have Marcus Smart than a combination of Jordan Goodwin and Shake Milton. So it sucks to see Goodwin go. He definitely earned his keep on the Lakers. He was probably the best feel-good story on the team last year. But ultimately, if that's what it takes to get Marcus Smart, I don't think it's the wrong decision.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing you mentioned earlier, Goodwin basically does what you would hope that Goodwin does 60% next season of what Marcus Smart is going to do. Like, Smart is an elite defender. They're going to give both energy either off the bench or in the starting lineup. We saw him start 5 games last year. And I do think a bigger trade is going to come here. I think this move kind of opens up more clear need rather for this Lakers team. And I want to get your thoughts on this quickly before we wrap up. Assuming, Marcus Smart, whether he starts or not, do you think they should pursue somebody like an Andrew Wiggins, obviously Herb Jones would be a dream scenario, even at PJ Washington, to then push a guy like Austin Reaves to the bench, and then you have a lineup of Luka, for just sake of argument, Luka, and then of course Smart, and let's say Wiggins, and then LeBron and Ayton. Of course, you'd assume Rui's gone in any of these deals as well. Or do you think they should rock what they have now, keep Austin Reaves as the starter, and of course either use Smart in the lineup in exchange for Rui Hachimura? I'm kind of just curious what your thoughts are on the Austin Reaves to the bench scenario, because it's a lot of what people are talking about to give you a more well-rounded defensive lineup, which is what this team need. But not only that, you then have an elite bench scorer, something that Austin Reaves is very familiar with as well.
Well, here's the thing, too. Austin Reaves is also in a contract situation. So is Rui Hachimura. So if you put either of them on the bench, you're probably going to piss them off, and perhaps they're going to want to go somewhere else. So I think ultimately, ideally, the Lakers would love to start both of them if they're assuming they're on the team, looking at the roster as it currently is right now. I actually think if Marcus Smart theoretically was to replace one of them, I actually think he would replace Rui Hachimura. I think that'd be a more smoother transition because that would allow Marcus Smart to guard the team's best perimeter player or guard. And Luka Doncic, while he's the starting point guard of this team, Luka Doncic should not be guarding point guards. Like, with the lineup with LeBron and Rui Hachimura, Luka kind of has to guard the team's other guards. And that's, look, he's skinnier now. Maybe he's got the foot speed to do it. But I think Luka's better off guarding wings and guys who are, more forwards. And so putting in a guy like a Marcus Smart, that lets Austin Reaves kind of guard who he's been guarding. Marcus Smart can guard the team's best, perimeter guy. And then Luka Doncic can kind of slide into more of a defensive-minded wing, if you will, and a more offensive-minded guard. So I think that's ultimately the best case scenario for someone like Luka Doncic. But the good news is getting Marcus Smart, whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench, that gives the Lakers options, and I think that's definitely a win.
Yeah, and ultimately, that's what they did. They got Marcus Smart, and now we'll see what Rob Pelinka has up his sleeve. But that'll wrap it up. Let us know down below what your thoughts are. Thank you guys for watching. Cheers.